Today we are going to cover the series Maxed Out Leveling. Hope you enjoy and stand by. This story is about Cha Shin-hyun, Jong-hoo, Murim's famous and strongest, who came back to Earth after reaching the peak of martial arts. But the change he sees in the world after coming back is unbearable. This world is now a place where monsters are coming out of dungeons, and hunters are leveling up via their status windows. It is worrying to start again from level 1 since his martial arts are already at the max level. It all begins with Shin-hyun waking up to a status window saying that he has to see it to the alternative world's end. He gets scared to death by seeing what it was saying and he fell asleep. He woke up to the same dream where someone was calling his name and he saw her younger sister sleeping beside her in the car. The dream of that night when he was heading home with his family, but something tragic happened. He has no idea how much time has passed and he didn't see his family around. When he woke up, he found himself laying inside a cave-like dark place. It had already been years and he was given a heavenly martial origin cultivation art book, which carried a message that said to the things to the end if he wanted to go home. If he masters all of it, he will be able to go back to his family's embrace. He completed the tutorial, but when he thought it was over, he reached the place isn't the end of the world and it was someplace else. That was just the start of everything and some weird guy came to him with the intention of killing him. Shin-hyun took the guy's life in order to survive, which leveled him up a bit of external art. That moment he realized what he needed to do is level up to max, which can let him go back to his original world. In the present, Supreme Sword Emperor Cha Shin-hyun as the cult leader finished off all the 6th and 7th generation fighters and left one 8th generation fighter to be the next demonic cult leader. Shin-hyun was thinking of ways to entertain himself when it's been 140 years of time. He can't even remember his past that carried the memories of his family, and heaven to him is a place that has never existed. When he was thinking of ending everything, the status board said he maxed every skills by achieving the highest level, which took out the restriction of deity ascension and was able to transfer him to Earth. He thinks his family is already dead since so much time has passed, and with it, he lost his will to go back to his original world. He thinks of revenge towards the person who turned him into that state. In the year 2011, Earth, before Cha Shin-hyun got into an accident, everyone was reminded that the days where nightmares will come true aren't far away, so humanity must evolve. In order to fight those nightmares, the blessings were given to humans to rise above them. Then year 2025, Korea, Red Wolf Dungeon, team leader Cha Yun-seol was fighting with the monsters with her companions, but just before finishing the fight, Byung of her team gets dismembered along with her other members. After seeing the upcoming loss, Seo Jong-hyun of her teams tries fleeing the scene but gets stopped by the leader herself. She gets mad at him for his actions, so she scolds and insults him. In the confrontation, Jong-hyun gets real mad and hits her with his fighter skill, Stone Crusher, which injures her body badly. Just before Jong-hyun was about to finish his leader, Shin-hyun gets teleported just behind him since he was about to be teleported in the Earth. The arrival of Shin-hyun gets Jong-hyun frustrated, and he gets irritated by the chattering he was doing by himself. Jong-hyun tries to ask him about his details but gets properly ignored by Shin-hyun instead. Shin-hyun noticed that Cha Yun-seol was about to die on the ground, so she approaches her body to investigate. Jong-hyun gets nervous by the situation around him, so he tries attacking Shin-hyun, so if he dies, the evidence dies with the both of them without knowing the status of Shin-hyun. Shin-hyun then introduces himself by his title and blasts Jong-hyun's head from his whole body. It was revealed that Shin-hyun indeed is the older brother of Cha Yun-seol. In the next scene, the flashback of Shin-hyun's and her sister's childhood in an amusement park can be seen. She was reluctant of her older brother going to the university, but just after that, on their way home, they were met with a car crash which killed both their parents, and Shin-hyun ended up being disappeared. Cha Yun-seol always blamed herself for her parents' death and her brother getting disappeared. She instantly woke up from the dream and started asking Shin-hyun who he really is. When he started talking like he used to do when she was a kid, she recognizes that it really is her long-lost brother. She starts crying but then woke up from her senses asking about what happened to Jong-hyun. When Shin-hyun confesses to her of killing Jong-hyun, she starts acting nervously and they both fled from the scene to their old home. His sister says that they are in big trouble for killing Jong-hyun since his father is the director of the Dawn Guild, Seo Kangjin. His father used to be a member of a vicious gang and is infamous for being violent and ruthless, besides being one of the 11 high-ranked hunters in Korea. Since she is way past the time to report the situation while she was unconscious, it means Seo Kangjin already have heard about his son's death by now. There is a big chance that he will count her as a suspect since she was partnered with his son in a raid together and she is the only one who survived. Shin Hye-eon claims that he will finish his father, so his sister doesn't need to worry of anything. But Seo Kangjin is in level 50, so that makes Yoon-seol more worried about it. Shin Hye-eon then starts explaining why and where he was all this time after his disappearance. The whole information was so heavy for Yoon-seol to digest, so she decides to go to the guild alone to check up on everything. Meanwhile, Shin Hye-eon goes on thinking about Seo Kangjin and what he can do. All of a sudden, the man himself arrives at Shin Hye-eon's house, knocking down the door looking for his sister. On the other hand, Yoon-seol arrives in front of the guild building contemplating about whether the director has found about it or not. She gets approached by Lee Jie, the vice guild leader of the Dawn Guild, asking her about what she is doing at the place. Yoon-seol thinks about whether she can trust her or not since she is so hard to read. Meanwhile, Shin Hye-eon gets mad at the director and his companions of their harsh behavior after entering the house. The director doesn't seem to care much about him and asks if he knows about the whereabouts of his sister. He instead answers the question saying that he is the one who killed his son. Seo Kangjin yells in agony, and after recognizing her brother, he engages into a fight with Shin Hye-eon. The power of the director and his sword seems strange to Shin Hye-eon. He thinks that the guy is worth researching. Shin Hye-eon blocks his supreme attack with his body and gets blasted by the companions of the director. Seeing their impressive skills, Shin Hye-eon thinks of getting on the top of Jong-hoo's ranking to set it up again. On the other hand, after hearing everything from Yoon-seol, the vice guild leader wanted to meet her brother. She promised to help Yoon-seol with the matter if she helps her with meeting her brother. Lee Jie is deeply interested in Yoon-seol's brother and his abilities since he has disappeared for over 140 years in the other world. She asks Yoon-seol about her brother to gather more information about him. In the house, Shin Hye-eon is humiliating the guys along with the director with his skills and powers. He finishes off the companions of the director and continues to humiliate him and his abilities. Then when the director goes berserk with his final form, Shin Hye-eon finishes him off as well. Yoon-seol comes home and gets shocked by the whole state of the house along with the dead bodies being there. But Lee Jie seems rather normal and adjusted in the whole situation. Shin Hye-eon realizes that her internal art is reasoning with the heavenly martial cultivation art, and she can even use sound transmission to converse. It clears up that Shin Hye-eon is not the only person who had been to Murim for years. In the next morning, Yoon-seol wakes up worrying that it was only a dream, but her brother is still there with her. The vice leader of the guild, Lee Jie, helped them with cleaning up the scene along with the bodies as well. But Yoon-seol had to take the responsibility and was put on long-term probation from the guild. The vice leader of the guild has called her brother the next day, which worries Yoon-seol for his safety. Lee Jie invited Shin Hye-eon for a cup of Junshan Yinzen so she could discuss about the Murim with him. The reveals that there is another person, the guild leader of Twilight, Park Tae-hoon, who also survived the Murim and split the influence of the Korean Hunters Association. They then discusses about what happened 14 years ago and how a divine revelation from a goddess it all began to appear with the system of classes and skills just like it is in the RPG games. Shin Hye-eon wonders if the prize of being maxed out in Murim is returning to Earth, then what is the reward of maxing out in here? Lee Jie offers Shin Hye-eon the seat of an executive and unimaginable wealth and fame, but he rejects it. He doesn't want to serve under someone weaker than him, so Lee Jie shows her origin skill. The skill transferred them into another dimension, and the challenge for Shin Hye-eon was to either break her or die. A fight broke between the both of them, which revealed the skills of Lee Jie and the ways of her fighting style. She claimed that Shin Hye-eon might be more powerful than the Shaolin master who has passed away at the 150 years of age. She adds that by killing him, she can become the strongest in the Murim. When Shin Hye-eon reveals his true power, Lee Jie stops the fight and accepts her defeat. Then about the offer to join the guild, Shin Hye-eon accepts it with the condition of getting material support and information by exchanging his power with them, but he will do it as an outsider since he doesn't want to serve under anybody. Lee Jie then makes him promise that he will not join hands with the Twilight Guild, no matter what, which he accepts without ease with his name on the line. Shin Hye-eon then apologizes to her for taunting her skills and asks why she learned assassination arts out of all the martial arts. She says that she did it with the thought of desperately wanting to kill someone, which Shin Hye-eon understands why she might have the idea. The driver of Lee Jie was worried about her since she even used her shadow dance in the fight. The thought of Shin Hye-eon not even attacking her for once amazes her even more. At home, Yoon-seol is greatly worried about her brother going out without her since he is always doing something dangerous. The thought of her brother becoming a hunter worries her even more. He shows her the mystic cube he got from Lee Jie that can give him a hunter status window, and Yoon-seol shows him how to use it. It is revealed that the Murim status board cannot be seen by anyone but him, but after realizing that Shin Hye-eon is classless, her sister cheers in happiness. She then proceeds to explain how a generic person can be a hunter as well by leveling up, but it takes the help of money. But he then realizes that if he needs money, he can just ask Lee Jie for it. Even though the thought of being a classless hunter bothers the hell out of Shin Hye-eon. Shin Hye-eon and Yoon-seol both arrive at the rabbit dungeon, where he learns how various stone can earn him money. By using the martial arts, he gets no experience of anything for it in the status window. He thinks if asking to Lee Jie for a free skill would have been better or not, which annoys his sister. After being in his thoughts for some minutes, he goes off to kill all the 337 rabbits inside the dungeon and instantly gets annoyed by the status board notifications. His overpowered skills amazes Yoon-seol since he got A+ in an instant, and he asks her if it is possible to gain experience points when going against monsters by using a passive skill that doesn't consume MP. In this world, from now on, if Shin Hye-eon uses martial arts, it seems that he can gain hunter experience points, and it can't be helped that the strongest hunters in Korea are Lee Jie and Park Tae-hoon. Yoon-seol then requests her brother to teach her martial arts as well, and just so she no longer wants to have any regrets about her abilities. Shin Hye-eon accepts her sister's request, but he promises her that he will be tough as a master. They continue to travel forward while Shin Hye-eon keeps using his martial arts skill to level up. Even though he was able to level up with martial arts, he still wants to be able to master a special class skill. Just like Lee Jie, he also wants to find a skill that he can link with his martial arts. After thinking for a while, Shin Hye-eon gets that becoming a wizard will be the best idea for him. But his sister thinks he is stupid since being a wizard is not that easy to claim since he is classless. Shin Hye-eon, on the other hand, Shin Hye-eon notices a big gap between the two status windows in the Murim and Hunter systems. Hunter system requires one to fight monsters in order to gain experience, and Murim system required endless investment of time in training and risking his own life. Remembering about the goddess being the carrier of the Hunter system, he realizes Sky War God might be the one who sent him to the Murim. Carrying the support of Lee Jie, Shin Hye-eon trained for one total month by going around dungeons to level up, which carried him up to 22 soon enough. He taught his sister how to channel her internal arts, but there was another way to bring out the internal force by forcing the chi channels and to remove the impure chi. By doing that, Yoon-seol was able to reach the first level, and Lee Jie called Shin Hye-eon for the settlement. Shin Hye-eon thought that she might ask for something unthinkable, but it was about going on a date with her. It seems that a new dungeon was formed in Bucheon. Being the danger level is 10 and the estimated dungeon entry level was around 45 to 50, where Lee Jie needed a high-level team or party to finish it. She wanted to visit it with Shin Hye-eon since it will also be profitable for him, as it can help him grow as fast as possible as well as a hunter. When her reasons didn't seem reasonable to him, she revealed some information about the Sun Festival, which determines the best guild in South Korea, but on the inside it helps everyone observe the strengths of their opponents and determine when they can cut the others' throats. Since both the guilds are in constant conflict, so they should be constantly preparing every day. But Shin Hye-eon doesn't realize why they are fighting with each other, but Lee Jie answers the question by saying that Park Tae-hoon and his obsession of Sky War God made it like that. Shin Hye-eon reacts as soon as he hears the name, but the information of getting a message through the Murim status window kind of confuses him. Lee Jie requests him to attend the Sun Festival as an alliance of the Dawn Guild, otherwise there will be the end of it. Shin Hye-eon finally accepts her proposal after hearing hundreds of valid reasons being behind of it. Lee Jie then given him the 6 wizard skills that he requested and the high-class mage and sorcerer skills, one of each. Since he has to go against Park Tae-hoon at some point, he finishes off signing all the legal documents by naming his guild Limitless. Finally, Lee Jie and Shin Hye-eon both travel to the Bucheon Monster Bird Dungeon, where something vicious was waiting for the both of them. On the other hand, somewhere in Seoul, Park Tae-hoon was entertaining himself by feeding the fishes in front of his villa while he received the news of Shin Hye-eon and his history from Kim Chulyo, his subordinate. Shin Hye-eon's disappearance and his relationship with Lee Jae has proven that there is a close connection of him being from the Murim as well. Meanwhile, Shin Hye-eon was feeling pretty confident after battling with the monsters inside the dungeon with his new skills. He explains about infinite origin flow to Lee Jae when he questions him about his MP. Just when Shin Hye-eon goes on to fight the minions before the boss arrives, Lee Jae starts thinking about the raid composition for the flying monsters. Lee Jae was in the middle of her thoughts when she gets attacked by huge dragon-like beasts. The dragons were using demonic power to fight, which proved that the whole dungeon system was broken, and while Lee Jae was falling from heights, she gets saved by Shin Hye-eon. He then tells her to keep her calm when he goes on attacking the beasts with his newly claimed fire powers. Thanks for watching part 1. If this video gets 5,000 likes, I will know that you guys like the manhwa and I will make the part 2. See you in the next video, but until then, stay tuned for the next one. Peace.